When I was a kid, I believed marriage was an unbreakable promise, a sacred bond that tied two souls together through life's highs and lows. My parents were my proof. Their love was a quiet, steady force, their affection woven into every shared glance and gentle touch. That image rooted itself deep in my heart, shaping my vision of what a family could be. It was with this unwavering faith that I married Claire, a woman I met during our second year of college. Claire was a vision. Her auburn hair cascaded in soft waves, her emerald eyes sparkled with life, and her athletic frame drew admiring glances. But it was her spirit that truly captivated me. Vibrant, sharp-witted, and endlessly kind. We became fast friends, our connection effortless, and 3 months later, we shared a tender, awkward moment in my car behind the old baseball field. The moonlight caught her tears of joy that night, and I knew we were meant to be. I'm Nathan, a contractor from a small Midwestern town, standing 6 feet tall, weighing 187 pounds, with warm brown eyes and sandy hair. I run a successful home remodeling business, while Claire teaches music at a local high school. Together, we've built a comfortable life, financially secure, and dreaming of starting a family. Our first decade of marriage was a dream come true. Our intimacy was warm and fulfilling, our nights anchored by a ritual of cuddling that felt like home. Waking up beside Claire was my daily joy, and I'd have given anything to keep her happy. But then, a betrayal shattered my world, leaving me reeling and questioning everything I thought I knew. Our work thrives in the warmer months, so we take vacations during holidays and escape to sunny destinations in the summer. Claire sometimes visits her family or focuses on teaching during my busy season, but we always carve out time to reconnect. During a strained period in our marriage, we booked a 2-week stay at an all-inclusive spa resort in the Bahamas, hoping the tropical breeze and ocean waves would heal what felt fractured. I boarded the plane believing our bond was unshakable, but a stranger's lingering gaze at Claire in the airport sparked a flicker of doubt. His eyes held a familiarity that unsettled me, though they didn't speak. Claire seemed oblivious, chatting lightly as we checked in, but my gut churned with unease. On the flight from Minneapolis to Miami, she chose an aisle seat instead of her usual window spot, blaming a stomach issue. I swapped seats with another passenger to ease her discomfort, but the choice gnawed at me. Normally, I sleep soundly on planes, but anxiety kept me awake, my mind racing with questions I didn't want to face. The man from the airport was seated several rows ahead, his presence a silent threat to my peace. Pretending to sleep, I kept an eye on Claire. After 15 minutes, she glanced at me, assuming I was out, and slipped to the restroom. I watched her pause, her hand brushing a man's shoulder, the same man from the airport. Their body language screamed intimacy. His hand grazed her waist. Her smile was too warm, too knowing. A wave of sadness crashed over me, my heart sinking as I realized our marriage was in jeopardy. How could she betray us like this? Throughout the flight, I wrestled with my emotions, clinging to the hope that I'd misunderstood, that there was some innocent explanation. But as we boarded our connecting flight to Nassau, my fears solidified. The man was there, 5 rows behind us, engrossed in a book, his presence a quiet confirmation of my worst suspicions. Claire took her usual window seat, acting as if nothing was wrong, but the damage was done. In Nassau, we collected our bags, rented a car, and drove to the resort. Claire engrossed in her phone while I grappled with a storm of emotions. "Who are you texting?" I asked, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "Just my mom and sister, letting them know we're here," she replied, her tone casual, but her quick glance betrayed her. Suspicion grew like a snowball rolling downhill, each moment feeding my doubt. Our room was breathtaking, with sweeping views of the turquoise ocean and a sparkling pool below. but the beauty felt hollow, a cruel contrast to the ache in my chest. As we unpacked, I knew I had to act to save what we had. I approached Claire, wrapping my arms around her and kissing her neck gently, the familiar scent of her perfume grounding me for a moment. "You know how much I love you," I murmured, my voice thick with emotion, searching for the connection we'd always shared. She turned, her lips brushing mine lightly. "I love you too, baby," she said. But her eyes were distant, guarded, as if she were somewhere else. "I'd never hurt you, Claire, or our marriage," I said, my words a plea for reassurance. She shuddered, whispering, "I know, Nathan," but avoided my gaze, her response hollow. I felt her slipping away, the battle for our marriage slipping through my fingers like sand. Releasing her, I retreated to the bathroom, splashing cold water on my face as my thoughts spiraled. How did this happen? What did I miss? Can I save us, or is it too late? The questions swirled, each one a dagger to my heart. When I returned, Claire's expression was strange, her voice unsteady. "Nathan, I got my period and forgot tampons. It just started. Maybe it's the excitement of the trip. I'll grab some." She left, the door clicking shut behind her, and I stood frozen, doubt creeping in like a shadow. At first, I thought her period might slow her affair, but the timing felt off. This had never happened before. Was she lying to avoid intimacy? The thought tore at me, ripping apart the trust I'd held for over a decade. If she was deceiving me, she wasn't the woman I married, the one I'd loved with every fiber of my being. The cruelty of planning this trip, letting me pay for it, only to betray me, was unimaginable. I felt unmoored, my mind teetering on the edge of despair. Spotting her phone by the television, I grabbed it, relieved to find no password change. Her messages with a man named Derek Sullivan revealed the truth, each word a fresh wound. They started in the car. "Derek, hey, gorgeous, can't wait to have you." Claire, "You almost got us caught." Derek, "I nearly kissed you on the plane." Claire, "Nathan's asleep, loved your squeeze." Derek, "I'm in the lobby. Is Nathan acting weird?" The texts continued in our room. Derek, "When will you leave Nathan?" Claire, "Nathan's a good husband." Derek, "But I'm better in bed." Claire, "Nathan's fine, but I need more. Let's make a baby." Derek, "I'll make you wet." Claire, "Nathan won't touch me. I'll lie about my period." Derek, "He's so clueless." Claire, "Don't call him that." Derek, "Meet me in the lobby. Give me 5. I stood frozen, my heart shattering into 1,000 pieces. Divorce was inevitable, but the texts alone wouldn't sway a court. They'd only fuel a messy battle. Claire had started this. I'd let her face the consequences. I kept both phones, knowing she'd notice hers missing soon, but I planned to be gone before she could confront me. Bile rose in my throat, and I vomited. The Caribbean Sea outside a cruel mockery of the happiness I'd felt just 8 hours ago. Peering out the window, I saw them kissing by the pool, their intimacy a knife twisting in my chest. I grabbed my camera, recording their actions, planning to use the footage later. They must have a plan to keep me occupied, I realized. They intended to spend the trip together, laughing behind my back. Why not beat them at their own game? I needed to uncover their strategy to outmaneuver them, my mind racing with possibilities. I kept filming until they kissed again, and Claire walked away, her silhouette disappearing into the resort's glow. Retreating to the bathroom, I ran the shower to steady my nerves, the hot water a fleeting escape from the chaos in my mind. If she asked, I'd say it was to wash off the flight's grime, a plausible excuse to buy time. 5 minutes later, I heard the door open. "I'm back," Claire called, her voice artificially bright. Got water and tampons. Great, I'll be out soon, I replied, my mind racing with dark possibilities. Why bring water when the resort provided it? Then it hit me. She might be trying to medicate me, to keep me docile while she slipped away with Derek. If I refused, she'd suspect. If I drank, and it was spiked, they could disappear together, leaving me humiliated. Drying off, I weighed my options as she knocked, her voice tinged with concern. You okay in there? Was it for me or her lover? Anger surged, a hot pulse in my veins, but I composed myself, taking the opened water bottle she offered. Stay hydrated, she said, avoiding my eyes, her fingers trembling slightly. Pretending to sip, I later emptied and refilled it in the bathroom, the act a small rebellion against her deceit. Back in the room, she unpacked, oblivious to my ruse, her movements practiced and casual. Noticing a striking red dress, I asked, "What's that for?" hoping to catch her off guard. She smiled, a flicker of nervousness in her eyes. Just brought it. Thought it'd be fun? You tired? I hinted, probing her deception. Pretending to drink, I feigned drowsiness, my heart pounding like a drum. Yeah, I'm beat, I said, slumping slightly for effect. Dinner's in a couple hours. Rest. I'll wake you, she said, her sincerity a carefully crafted mask. Okay, won't sleep long. One time with you? I teased, masking the pain that clawed at my chest. Love you, she replied, her voice less convincing, a hollow echo of the woman I thought I knew. I pretended to drift off, hearing her call someone, her voice low and conspiratorial. I'll be at the Coral Bar in an hour. Can't wait, love. Bye. She'd taken the bait, and I felt a grim satisfaction. As she showered, I searched her purse, finding a small bottle of unlabeled pills, their purpose chillingly clear. Pocketing a few, I returned to bed, waiting for her to leave, my body tense with anticipation. Once alone, I dressed quickly, my plan crystallizing with each heartbeat. First, I'd gather more video evidence of their affair, building an undeniable case. Second, I'd sabotage their plans for the trip, though the details were still forming in my mind. Third, I'd cut the vacation short and start divorce proceedings immediately to protect our finances from Claire's grasp. Grabbing my camera, I hurried to the Coral Bar, praying its dim lighting wouldn't ruin my footage. Positioning myself behind a cluster of palm trees, I watched Claire, radiant in the red dress I'd once adored, wrapped in Derek's arms, their laughter a dagger to my soul. My heart burned with betrayal, but I stayed focused, recording every kiss, every caress, every shared smile, my hands steady, despite the anguish that threatened to overwhelm me. Hours passed, my resolve wavering as the weight of their intimacy pressed down on me. But as I considered retreating to the room, now mine alone, they left the dance floor with urgency, their steps hurried. Curiosity piqued, I followed discreetly, capturing their stolen moments along the way. Pauses to kiss, to whisper, their hands intertwined. They reached Derek's modest room, far from our ocean view suite, and through partially open curtains, I recorded their conversation, my camera catching every word, every laugh. Despite the pain gnawing at my heart, I stayed, knowing this evidence would be my lifeline in the days to come. As they undressed, I noted Derek's physicality, impressive, but no justification for Claire's betrayal or her reckless talk of a baby. Lingering outside, I recorded their passionate encounter, the endless intimacy fueling a fire of fury within me, each moment a reminder of what I'd lost. Near midnight, I overheard Claire express concern about the pills she'd given me, her voice tinged with worry. Derek assured her I'd sleep for hours, suggesting a dosing schedule to keep us apart, their callous laughter a spark to my resolve for revenge. Determined to disrupt their nightly rendezvous, I devised a plan. I'd gift Claire a spa day, masking my true intentions with affection, ensuring she'd be occupied for hours while I confronted Derek alone. If she hesitated, I'd insist the package was non-refundable, using guilt to secure her compliance, a tactic she'd used on me in subtler ways over the years. The deceit felt justified, a necessary weapon in this war she'd started. Changing into shorts, I lay awake, plotting each step, my mind a whirlwind of strategy and emotion. Around 5 in the morning, Claire slipped into bed beside me, her presence an intrusion I barely tolerated. Suppressing the urge to push her away, I feigned sleep, my body rigid with restraint. By 7, as she slumbered, I showered and headed to the spa, hoping for an early opening to secure my plan. I booked a 3-hour session for 2 in the afternoon, prioritizing duration to keep her away, the cost a small price for the time I needed. Satisfied, I wandered the resort, knowing Claire needed rest after her night with Derek. Returning around 9, I found her still asleep, her face peaceful in a way that mocked the chaos she'd unleashed. Checking her phone, I saw a message from Derek sent within the hour. "You were amazing last night. Can you ditch Nathan for some afternoon fun?" My anger flared, a hot coal in my chest, but I stayed calm, replacing her phone and leaning in to kiss her forehead gently, the gesture a painful act of deception. "Good morning, sleepyhead," I greeted softly, my voice steady despite the storm inside. "Sorry for crashing last night and ruining dinner, but I have a surprise." Her eyes flickered with uncertainty as she yawned. "What kind of surprise?" she asked, her voice groggy. "I booked you a spa day as an apology and to show how much I love you," I said, watching her closely. She shuddered slightly, a telltale sign of her unease. "Everything fine, or don't you like it?" I probed, my tone gentle but insistent. "No, I love it," she reassured, her smile faltering. "Just wish you'd asked first." "Wouldn't be a surprise then," I countered, keeping my tone light. "It's for 2 this afternoon, so we can spend some time together first." She nodded, thanking me, and headed to the bathroom, her purse in hand. At the buffet, I loaded my plate with breakfast staples, while Claire opted for fruit and coffee, her appetite visibly diminished. "Not hungry. Is it your period?" I inquired, my voice casual but probing. "Yeah, maybe," she replied, her eyes darting away, clearly distracted. Her reaction to Derek's message lingered in my mind, but it didn't matter. My plan was unfolding perfectly. After breakfast, we strolled along the beach, my camera capturing shots of the swaying palm trees and Claire, though her unease was palpable despite my compliments. "What's wrong, babe? You okay?" I asked, sensing her guilt like a tangible weight. "Just tired," she responded, her discomfort evident, her voice barely above a whisper. "Mind if I nap before the spa?" she asked, her eyes avoiding mine. "Sure. It's rough having your period on vacation," I said, concealing the frustration that simmered beneath my surface. As she walked away without a goodbye kiss, a small but telling omission, I resolved to confront Derek soon, the need for action burning within me. Continuing along the beach, I overheard 2 couples, including women I'd seen with Derek by the pool, now accompanied by their burly boyfriends. The men had gone deep-sea fishing, leaving the women feeling neglected, a vulnerability Derek had clearly exploited. Their conversation revealed frustration, the women's attempts to reassure their partners falling flat. As they passed, it was clear Derek had manipulated the situation, leaving the women unsatisfied and their boyfriends oblivious. Returning to the resort, I roamed for over an hour, checking Derek's room. Hearing voices, not Claire's, I mounted my camera on his windowsill, recording discreetly in the daylight, a riskier move but necessary. Finding a spot to watch his door, I waited, my patience rewarded when the 2 women emerged, giggling like they shared a scandalous secret. Retrieving my camera, I returned to my room, Claire still at the spa, giving me time to review my footage. Back in my room, I transferred the videos to my laptop, the images a gut punch of betrayal. The footage from Derek's room revealed he'd charmed the women into a risque encounter while their boyfriends fished, a sordid scene that unfolded like a cheap adult film. Derek had his way with one while the other watched. Then they switched, a cycle of infidelity that mirrored Claire's own betrayal. A new plan formed, sharp and ruthless. I'd ensure Claire tried medicating me again tonight, then spike their drinks with her own pills, leaving them unconscious. I'd time my exit perfectly, stranding Claire as she scrambled to piece together the fallout. Copying Derek's escapades onto multiple DVDs, I sent one to my brother, Luke, with a note not to play it or reveal its origin, a safeguard in case my plan unraveled. At the front desk, I arranged for the disc's delivery, then scouted the women's rooms, conveniently adjacent to each other. If Claire and Derek repeated their routine, I'd disrupt their trip by morning, leaving chaos in my wake. Calling the airline, I booked a 10 in the morning flight, later than I'd hoped, and informed the front desk we'd check out at 8 due to an emergency, committing fully to my plan. Even if it failed, I'd beat Claire home, ruining her schemes before she could regroup. The plan was meticulous. Let Claire think she'd medicated me, spike their drinks at the bar, escort her back unconscious, strip Derek of his belongings, wallet, cash, passport, clothes, and slip DVDs under the women's doors for their boyfriends to find, ensuring Derek faced their wrath. Timing was critical, every second a thread in the tapestry of my revenge. Claire returned at 5:30, glowing from the spa, her beauty a painful reminder of what I'd lost. "Thank you, Nathan. It was incredible. I feel like a new person," she exclaimed, her radiance cutting deeper than any words. "Glad you enjoyed it. I just wanted to show you mean everything," I replied, noting the glint of tears in her eyes, a flicker of guilt she couldn't hide. "Thanks, I love you," she said, her emotion almost convincing, but I saw through the performance. "Dinner's soon. Let's rest and get ready," I suggested, keeping my tone warm to avoid suspicion. She nodded, taking her purse to the bathroom. Emerging, she handed me a water bottle. "Drink up. We're dancing tonight," she said with a wink, her cheerfulness a thin veil. "All right, let me hit the bathroom," I chuckled, emptying and refilling the bottle discreetly, the flush of the toilet masking my actions. Sipping it later, I began to feign sleep, snoring lightly as Claire prepared for Derek, her movements deliberate, her excitement palpable. She sat beside me, caressing my cheek, her touch a betrayal in itself. "Baby, after this week, I'll be yours." I needed to clear my head before we start a family. "I'm sorry I couldn't tell you. I couldn't risk you leaving. I love you deeply, but I have to do this," she confessed, her voice trembling with guilt she thought I couldn't hear. She leaned in, kissed my cheek, and whispered, "I love you, Nathan," before leaving, her words a hollow attempt to ease her conscience. The door closed and I sprang up, dressing quickly, my anger a steady pulse driving me forward. Following her to the Coral Bar, busier than the previous night, I spotted the women and their boyfriends, their presence a stroke of luck. Settling behind the palm trees, I recorded Claire and Derek's laughter, their ease a stark contrast to the turmoil inside me. As the night wore on, I approached the bar, ordering a beer and watching the waitress take their order. When the bartender turned away, I slipped a capsule's contents into their drinks, stirring quickly to dissolve the powder, the fizz blending seamlessly. Maneuvering past the waitress, I ensured the swap went unnoticed in the crowded bar, my heart racing with the thrill of execution. Returning to my spot, I watched anxiously as the waitress served their drinks, the clock ticking past 1 in the morning. If the medication worked, they'd be out until 11, ideally collapsing in Derek's room. They sipped leisurely, and I grew nervous. What if they didn't finish? Then Derek whispered to Claire, and they downed their drinks, leaving hastily. I followed, noting Claire's stumble, Derek supporting her, his arm around her waist. At his room, they staggered, fumbling with the key card, their movements sluggish. Waiting a few minutes, I used Claire's stolen key card to enter, the air thick with the scent of their betrayal. Derek muttered, "What's wrong, baby? You didn't drink much," slurring as he tried to rouse Claire, who lay face down on the bed, already unconscious. Noticing me, he slurred, "Who are you?" "Her husband, the fool. Pass out so I can get her out," I retorted, my voice cold. He collapsed, motionless, his body a heap on the floor. Grabbing his phone, I found a folder of compromising photos. Women in various states of undress, including Claire and colleagues' wives, evidence of Derek's serial affairs. Forwarding Claire's images to her phone and mine for insurance, I sent the rest to his contacts, ensuring chaos when he returned. Packing his belongings, wallet, cash, passport, clothes, into his suitcase, I carried Claire to our room, her weight a reminder of the life we'd lost. Returning to Derek's, I tossed his suitcase and shoes into a dumpster, covering them with trash to conceal my work. Back in my room, I packed, stripping Claire's purse of money, cards, and passport, leaving a note. "You broke our marriage, now face the consequences." At 4 a.m, I slipped DVDs under the women's doors, hoping their boyfriends would find them first. Exhausted, I dozed in a chair, waking at 7, the weight of my actions settling like dust. Carrying Claire to a poolside lounge chair to avoid housekeeping, I grabbed my suitcases, taped her phone's battery contacts to disable it, and sent her compromising photos to her contacts, sparing her young nieces. At 8, commotion erupted. One boyfriend, having seen the DVD, shouted, "You're a traitor! The wedding's off!" Another coldly dismissed his pleading girlfriend, his voice icy with betrayal. An ambulance siren signaled Derek's fate, likely attacked by the boyfriends, his reckoning swift and brutal. Hailing a taxi, I reached the airport, checking voicemail. Luke had received Claire's photos, shocked but supportive after I explained, his voice a lifeline in the chaos. Landing home, I found threats on Derek's phone, his contacts enraged, their lives upended by the truth I'd unleashed. Driving from long-term parking, I planned my next steps, my mind a battlefield of strategy and emotion. Divorce meant splitting assets evenly, an injustice given Claire's betrayal. Instead, I'd make her life a living hell, a punishment to match the pain she'd inflicted. At home, I enlisted Luke to move my belongings to a warehouse, draining our joint account and canceling all credit cards, my movements methodical despite the ache in my chest. I discarded Claire's gifts, selling valuable ones, each item a tether to a past I was severing. That night, Claire's messages flooded in, shifting from concern to panic. "Why did you do this? Couldn't we talk?" Ignoring her, I packed the house, renting a storage unit to hold my life's remnants. Knowing Claire's return was delayed by her missing passport, I turned to the house, my construction expertise a weapon in my arsenal. I installed temporary basement bracing, cut floor nails with a chainsaw, and rigged the front door lock to a pawn shop winch, ensuring collapse when turned, a physical manifestation of our shattered marriage. With Luke's help, I moved out, keeping my plans secret, knowing he'd try to dissuade me. I sold my work truck, bought another under a friend's name, and closed my business, explaining to employees my divorce with a heavy heart. Contacting a college friend in Colorado, I arranged to join his construction business, keeping my whereabouts hidden from Claire's reach. The day before her return, I loaded my truck, leaving her belongings behind, a final act of separation. I asked a neighbor to record her arrival, hinting at a surprise, his cheerful agreement a small comfort in the storm. Driving to Colorado, a 2-day journey, I felt a quiet serenity settle over me, the anger fading like a distant storm. Claire called around noon, saying she'd arrive the next day at 4 in the afternoon. "Will you meet me at the airport?" she asked, her voice hopeful. "No, I've got errands. Just come home," I said, my tone neutral. I phoned my neighbor, instructing him to film the surprise I'd planned, his excitement a stark contrast to my resolve. An hour from my friend's house, Claire called, her voice frantic. "The house collapsed when I turned the key. It's gone." "Don't fret. Your parents are waiting. I've taken measures," I said cheerfully, savoring the moment. "What? Our house is destroyed," she cried, her anger rising. "I rigged it, Claire. Temporary bracing, a chainsaw, a winch. When you turned the key, it fell, just like our marriage. Good luck," I said, my voice steady, a final declaration of freedom. My neighbor confirmed, emailing the video. "Your house buckled, Bam. She's okay, but it's a mess." I reset my phone, cutting ties to the past, and continued my journey, a fresh start on the horizon. 3 years later, I've carved out a comfortable life in Colorado, my days filled with honest work and new beginnings. I stay connected with a few friends back in Minnesota, keeping tabs on the fallout, but avoid family to shield my location from Claire. She achieved her reckless desire, becoming pregnant with Derek's child, and initially claimed it was mine, painting me as a neglectful father who fled. Even my mother believed her at first, eager for a grandchild, but I arranged a DNA test through Luke, comparing it to his DNA. The results proved the child wasn't mine, prompting my mother to expel Claire from her life, her betrayal too deep to forgive. Claire lives alone now, seeing her child sparingly, her choices a shadow she can't escape. Derek, hospitalized after the resort attack, fled town, rumored to be impotent. His days of philandering ended by the consequences I set in motion. The house's collapse, captured on video, became a local legend, a cautionary tale of betrayal and retribution. I've moved forward, my heart lighter with each passing day, the pain of Claire's betrayal a distant memory. The road ahead is mine to shape, and I walk it with a quiet strength, free from the past that once threatened to define me.
Thank you for listening. Please share your thoughts, like this video if you found it helpful, and subscribe for more.